Welcome to Broken Tusk Rising, a Pathfinder 2nd Edition actual play in the Galarian campaign setting. We're playing through the Quest for the Frozen Flame adventure path.
I'm Shaun, and I'm playing Andreas Witchborn, the Human Magus.
I'm Jessica, and I'm playing Xankath, the Halfling Fighter.
I'm Janette, and I'm playing Jonesy, the Human Cleric.
This is Josh, and I'm playing Korgo, the Human Barbarian.
Last time on Broken Tusk Rising, the scouts of the Broken Tusk following continued eastward and encountered a group of people on a large raft or barge on the Spelok River. After attempting to engage them in conversation, they found that the people on the barge were mute or pretending to be mute. One of the crew tried to drag Andreas onto the barge, and at that point it became clear they were up to no good. A fight broke out, many bottles and crates were thrown, and the heroes came out on top. Now, with the battle over, you hear someone banging on the inside of the storage shed.
Hey, are y'all still fighting out there? Hello?
And Korgo is staring at one of the corpses.
Xankath is gonna hop onto the barge and go to wherever this door, I assume there's a door?
Yeah, there's a door on the south side of the shed. There's no longer a crate blocking it.
Okay. Is it locked?
It is locked.
Be very careful. It sounds like you might be a cowboy, based on that accent.
Well, we can't have that, can we?
Burn it!
Get him.
I would like to unlock it.
Okay, how do you want to do that?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I have lockpicks. I don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't know that. Would you
Perhaps
know
we
if
could
you had
search the
lockpicks?
bodies. Maybe somebody has a key.
Maybe I don't. Feels like something I should have, but I definitely don't. Okay. Oh, that's a very smart idea, Jonesy. Help me look for them. I hope it wasn't the one who went in the river.
Oh, yes.
So we're going to search for the key.
All right, so you start searching the bodies. Korgo, what are you doing?
Korgo will, he search the body. He recognizes this guy's face. And so he kneels down next to him to kind of check his pockets and stuff. But then he looks at his face, with the scars on it, and then like a memory is just forced onto him, and I'm using my flashback token. Bam!
Uh-oh.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing
Yep.
that nobody told me about?
Yeah, everybody
I
gets
guess.
one flashback token.
Oh, I didn't get one.
I didn't know that.
Do you have to write your own flashback, or does Mike just do it
Mike
himself?
sent me my flashback. What, you guys didn't get a flashback?
I'm really jealous now.
No. Josh is a favorite?
Obviously.
I got a flashback.
It's the first I've heard of this. So,
Oh, don't be coy. Come on, you know I'll find the flashback you sent me. Okay, so Korgo has a memory. This face is just pulling it right out of him, and so he's much younger. He's about 12 years old, much smaller, and he's standing in a camp, and his hands are tied together. And surrounding him on the ground are a dozen bodies. Some look like Broken Tusk followers, and their hands and feet are bound together. Others of them look like armed warriors, but all of them are dead. They have huge claw and bite wounds all over. And the man that Korgo recognizes is running away, and he's got fresh claw marks in his face. And he's fleeing from a giant saber-toothed tiger with just huge, hulking muscles. Its jaws and claws are stained red. It's got a javelin sticking out of its side. And rather than chase the man down, it turns to face Korgo. And the beast and Korgo are just staring at each other. And the Smilodon's heavy breaths are gurgling from the blood pooling in its lungs. They're just looking at each other, and as Korgo's looking at it, its face gets smaller, the crimson stains disappear, and Korgo's staring at Hrungar in the present. And Hrungar kind of nuzzles him, snaps him out of his memory, and he checks the body for keys.
okay. Yeah, you search this body. Things you find on this body. You find a great club, a sap, some studded leather armor, and some trashy jewelry. It's just, costume jewelry. And you do find on that person that you were searching, the person with a scarred face, you do find some keys.
Nice. Okay, key here. He tosses the key over to Xankath.
Oh, thank you, dear.
Shiny junk, and he tosses that over to Andreas.
Yes, I already looked at this, and I refused to accept it from them. I'm not going to take it from you either.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Here you are.
Thank you. And he stuffs in his pockets.
I'll open the door.
All right, you open the door, and inside the room, this shed or shack, you see a halfling with short black hair, wearing bright Varisian garb, tied up. And she looks up at you, wide-eyed. And she looks like...
Ha! There she is.
Oh, she's cute.
And...
Kind of a hipster mullet thing going on.
Sure.
Nose ring.
Big old
Yep.
halfling earrings.
She looks up at you, Xankath, and says, hi. Would you mind untying me?
No, of course not. I assume you were taken by those individuals.
Yes, those are slavers. Yep. Those are the Delassi slavers. They're trouble. But looks like you took care of them.
Well, this batch, I'm certain there are more out there. There always are. I'll untie her, cut her out. I'm sure I have a dagger. I'll cut her out.
Sure.
My name is Xankath.
Oh, howdy, Xankath. How are you? So pleased to meet you. She rubs her wrists and ankles, and she smiles at you. Thanks, strangers. I've been there at least a couple days, tied up like a hog. I'm Harbina. Harbina Farwander, explorer, cartographer, wanderer, collector, place-goer, thing-doer. Who are you?
I have a question. What is a thing doer? Sounds pretty intriguing.
I do things.
I see.
You look like thing doers, too.
We do, in fact, do many things. That is true.
I knew it. I knew it from the moment I saw you. Well, I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. Now, who are you again?
As I said, I'm Xankath.
And the rest of these folks?
I am Andreas Witchborn.
I'm Jonesy. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Oh, very well.
And the big strapping fellow over there?
Korgo, nice to meet you.
Hubba. So,
I'm the same age as him.
are you?
Yes, just throwing that out there.
Well, all right then.
How did you become captured by these slavers?
Well, I've been wandering around here trying to track down this spiritualist fellow. He's been wandering around the Gornuk Plain. I don't suppose you've run into that sort of person wandering around, have you? He's sort of a, hippy-dippy, kind of spiritualist, big-haired, goofy guy.
We do know a Corrid with quite a lot of hair, but I do not think I would call him a spiritualist.
No, not that much hair. No, dang it. Well,
Was he very good looking? It could be our friend Fran.
well, maybe. I've been following this map of his, and she sort of digs around in the room behind her, and she pulls out a scroll tube. I've been following this map of his, hoping I could find him somewhere around here. I'm guessing he's dead, though. His map made it all the way back to Varisia somehow. I'm not sure how, along with some of his notes. And his notes go all the way to Gleaming Sun Lake, but they stop there. I'm guessing something happened to him at the lake. The Delassi, however, these slavers, they do business in these parts, capturing people unawares. They talked about some kind of monster, some kind of river monster that lived at the lake eating people. And maybe he ran into that,
This creature that you're speaking of sounds like the Kelpie we just defeated.
Yes, and if you know the size, approximate size of the person's skull, we could maybe compare it to all the dead things we found.
I'm afraid I don't have any evidence about skull size. I'm sorry about that.
I did collect a few items from the Kelpie's hoard. Perhaps you might recognize this amber lump.
Amber lump.
Sometimes weird spiritualist hippie people will carry amber around thinking that it, contains energy or something.
No, don't know anything about that. Here,
Totally.
let me show you the map. Let me show you what I got here.
I'd love to look at your map.
She pulls out this scroll tube and begins flattening out the contents on the remaining crate. And she says, see, the map was folded around these weird umber nettles. These like yellowish, kind of brownish, like plants, which supposedly grow in this area. You know what I mean?
They do.
Yeah, they do. All right. So he's made some changes to the map, too, though. Now, you see this? And she points to the east in the mountains. He drew this weird cat-shaped cave mouth, and he wrote tiger over it. Any idea what that means?
We have a tiger right here. He points to Angara.
Oh, you think that creature's like your cat there? You think it lives in that cave?
Well, something quite like it,
Something
probably.
similar, perhaps, yes.
I wondered if it meant some kind of treasure. Well, I guess if you've already found his body, he had some treasure on him, I suppose?
Oh, we're not certain that we found his body. We found many bodies that were unrecognizable.
We're certainly not certain enough to share anything.
Oh, all right. Well, fair enough. I want to activate the map here, the overland map. Now, on the map, there's a new symbol visible.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Scary.
It's so far away.
Well, that's
Fearsome.
way scarier than Hungara. That's not Hungara.
You want to describe that for the listeners?
Me?
Anybody? Somebody.
Yeah, you.
I insist that Janette does
Well,
it.
it's the color of a bumblebee.
Uh-huh.
Black on yellow.
This hexagon.
Uh-huh.
It's got eyes and these long teeth.
Yep.
And it's got these weird black cutout portions.
Uh-huh.
And so it's basically a tiger.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yep.
It looks like an angry, growling saber-toothed tiger.
Growling tiger.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think those are more like eyebrows, though. It doesn't appear to have any pupils, so there's something wrong with it. But
It's a blind tiger.
So I have now revealed the Red Cat Cave icon on the map of your route to the east.
I mean, lucky we found you. We needed to go to this exact cave. This is our entire reason for even being here.
Well, so what kind of stuff did you find in that cave, in the Kelpie cave?
That's a great question. Xankath, didn't your bow is already super magical, so it wasn't anything connected to that. We found this amber lump, and there was also a candle.
Was there a candle?
Was there?
I don't remember a candle, sir.
I do remember what we actually found. I don't know. It was there's a stone with the ghost touch rune.
Right.
There's a stoppered bottle oil of potency.
Right.
There was a crying angel pendant.
Right, the pendant.
Which we gave
Okay.
to Jonesy, and this amber lump,
Okay.
which is certainly super important. Also, some untouched organs.
Right.
There was a heart and possibly a liver.
Are you explaining all that to her, or just the part about the amber and the...
We didn't keep any of the organs.
Oh, yeah,
so-
I know, but you haven't mentioned the
Yeah.
pendant or anything else. I'm just trying to figure out...
Jonesy would. He would show her the pendant he
Okay.
found.
She says, oh, yeah. Well, that's him then. Yep. I guess he got eaten. Well, that's too bad. You guys need a cartographer?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah?
Either way, you shouldn't go on your own now.
Well, I'd prefer not to after this adventure. Well, I suppose I could tag along with you folks. So it's just the four of you.
We have the rest of our following shortly behind us. We're scouting ahead for them.
You got some mammoth lords?
Yeah, at least 2.
I've never met any mammoth lords before. That'd be great. I'll write all about it. I could provide cartographic services.
I mean,
That's amazing.
Jonesy and I certainly appreciate a good map.
Well, that's wonderful. Hey, there's some other stuff in here. You want it?
Yes.
So in this shack, you find a dream pollen snare, and Harbina can show you how that works since she got caught by one.
Okay.
And you also find 35 gold.
35 gold divided by 4 is...
Doesn't Hungara get a share?
No.
Oh, okay.
8.75 each.
And you've added Harbina Farwander to the following as another lieutenant. And you've also cleared out this hex.
Nice.
Yeah.
Glad to have you along.
All right, so let's look at the map here.
Before we go on,
Yeah.
sorry, I just for loot's sake, did each of those
Oh, yeah.
4 guys we fought have studded leather armor?
Yeah, let me go back to that real quick.
'Cause that's worth 3 GP, ain't? Maybe it's worth taking.
Maybe I could wear it.
Let's talk about the other treasure you get off of them. So there are 2 guys with great clubs and saps. And they're each also wearing studded leather armor. And then there are also the 3 other guys. They each have leather armor, a couple empty bottles, 2 empty bottles, trash. And they each have a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, yeah. So there's 3 bottles of whiskey.
3 bottles of whiskey.
Cool. I'm going to throw the studded leather armor on my character sheet. You said there's 2 of them?
2 of them, and then 3 suits of leather armor.
I'm not encumbered yet, so I'll drag them around and sell them later.
Oh, I can take one of those studded leather armors. I might be able to wear it.
It is light.
Yeah.
I mean, unless somebody else would like it. It seems to fit me pretty good.
I do know that it's not worth it for Xankath because the
No.
max dex is too high.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we gather up their armor and these bottles of whiskey. we discuss our next moves. So, Harbina, where are you from?
Well, I'm from Varisia originally. I grew up there, traveled around the world a bit, now I'm exploring this part.
Jonesy and I spent some time in Varisia. We were regulars at a bar in Sandpoint for quite some time.
Well, those were good times.
Sandpoint, that hole in the ground, that place.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that town. Lots of stuff happens in that town, let me tell you.
It's a busy place, yes. We had to get out of there. And instead, we went to the World Wound and fought demons.
You did what now?
Well, one thing led to another.
That's quite a big step from Sandpoint to the World Wound.
Well, when in Rome.
When in World Wound.
So that day, you finish your exploration of that hex, and the next day, you'll need to be moving on to your next exploration point. You've got pretty much a straight shot from here to the east. So if you look at your map, you'll see it's pretty much one hexagon of plains after another until you get to the mountains.
And the lighter brown is
Hills.
Still plains, right?
Nope, those are hills.
No, it's hills.
Okay.
It's difficult terrain.
Yep, you want to stay out of those unless you need to enter it for good reason. So that evening, after you clear the area, as you're making camp, you notice that all the ground around you as you're laying down and talking, and Harbin is hanging out with you this evening. She hasn't gone to the following yet. You notice that the area begins to take on a strange green hue, and then it turns bluish. And looking up, you realize that for the first time this year, the Aurora Iobara has become visible.
I thought I was on mushrooms for a second.
Pulsing with changing colors, it shines from the north, above the crown of the world, an even harsher, colder place than the realm of the Mammoth Lords. It is a wondrous sight. Andreas and Jonesy, you know that it is said to have grown more intense and frequent after the opening of the World Wound, and you think maybe it seems a little bit less colorful than it was years ago. Still, it's a beautiful and reassuring sight. At least something traditional and predictable is happening.
Andreas is in awe of this. And I think he associates it with the god that he worships. He associates it with Desna because she's like the goddess of dusk and the night sky and stars and constellations. And he doesn't sleep the whole night because as long as the aurora is up, he needs to be watching it. And he just spends his entire time transfixed and doing little rituals and lighting incense in his meteor hammer and stuff. He's just flabbergasted by how beautiful it is.
It's constantly shifting and lighting the whole camp. And you think maybe you can hear a distant humming or buzzing sound coming from it. What is everybody else doing?
Xankath appreciates it for a little while, but it's she's been with the following for a while.
Yep.
And so has seen this sight many times. It's the first night. She appreciates it for a little while and then just kind of goes about what she's doing. Normal.
Harbina is also fascinated. She's never seen this before. And she observes what Andreas is doing and also stays up late looking at the amazing lights. Is anybody else doing anything, or is anybody talking about anything? Does anyone need medical aid?
I think Jonesy would also be looking out at the sky, kind of mumbling under his breath that it's always about Desna. And maybe describing to, sorry, what's her name again?
Harbina?
Harbina.
I always want to say Harbuck. Harbina, he'll kind of be trying to tell her some stories about the lights, his time at the World Wound, looking up at the skies.
Love to hear about
and
that.
And then if anybody interrupts him to do some healing, he would reluctantly, but actually quite lovingly help anybody out.
Jonesy, it would be really nice while we're watching these auroras is if perhaps you prayed to Sarenrae and, asked her to heal us as we're watching the cool lights.
Are you injured, sir?
Oh, just enough to make it annoying.
Right, of course. Any pain that's annoying needs to be taken care of immediately.
I can just do that on the side here while everybody else describes what's happening. I think everybody needs a little bit of healing, right?
I do not.
Oh, okay. Korgo?
Korgo's okay. He'll heal a little bit over the night. He'll be all right. We did establish in a previous episode, I think, that Korgo's the cook. So Korgo's learned that he needs to heat the food with fire. So he's figuring that out.
I'll presume you have some supplies you can cook, or you could go hunt something if you want.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, which one?
Oh, hunt something is cool.
Oh, okay. Make a survival check.
Okay. I can totally do that.
Yeah.
That's 18.
Let's say you catch a hare.
Oh, but I have the foraging feat, too.
Oh, what does that do?
Means I'm really cool.
Okay.
Let me read the foraging feat, because I took it. I did actually legitimately take the right feat this time. While using the survival to subsist, if you roll any result worse than a blah, 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 if I succeed, I can double the additional number of creatures I can feed. So give me a couple hares.
Okay.
On a success, you can provide subsistence living for yourself and 4 additional creatures. And on a critical success, you can take care of twice as many creatures as on a success.
All right, so you've got enough food to feed all of you without dipping into supplies, and you can even feed Harangara and your guest.
While he's gone, I'll be, I'll set up the fire and I'll get things prepared for when he comes back.
Harbina is extremely happy with this whole arrangement. I mean, she's been shut in a shack for 2 days, and this is just wonderful. She's stretching out and walking around, and she's just really enjoying herself. And she's really excited when Korgo comes back and cooks the food, and she falls asleep watching the pattern of lights in the sky. The next day, Gozrin the 18th, you break camp in the morning, heading back on the path. You know that there are 12 days of travel across the plains before you enter the hills between the grandparents, which are the mountains flanking the pass through which the following usually travels. This day, the 18th, is an uneventful day as you and the following hustle eastward. There are dark forests to your south, but there's no reason to explore them now, so I'll go ahead and move you. On the 19th, you reconnoiter the Hex. I want one person to make either a perception or survival check on the 19th, the day that you reconnoiter that Hex.
Survival
or perception.
Not me.
I've got a really good perception.
Go for it.
It's a 23.
Nice.
You don't notice any particular dangers. The Hex seems pretty safe. You explore the area. Nothing in particular that's interesting about it. You're pretty confident in that. You continue on the 20th to the next Hex, and it's yet another comfortable day. It's getting warmer. You begin reconnoitering that Hex on the 21st, and also on that day, the Burning Mammoths move 1 Hex. Just as you're taking your first steps after breaking camp that day, though, you hear a distant rumble. And looking west, you see lightning flash in the distance. The land here is very gently sloping upward, and you can see that the following behind you is also getting moving, and all their heads turn to look behind them. Some of the animals surge forward, but their handlers quickly get them under control. You think you have several hours of travel before this thunderstorm hits you, but it is going to hit. The only good news is that it's going to hit the Burning Mammoths too, and it's going to hit them first. So, this AP has long stretches of nothing interesting happening during exploration, especially at this phase of the story. So, what I'm going to do to spice things up is I'm going to do a narrative skill challenge.
Nice.
If you've ever listened to the Board with Life Adventures podcast, Donald Schultz used to do that a lot in that podcast. Here's the deal. Each of you can choose a skill, and then you narrate how you're going to use that skill to help the Broken Tusk Scouts or the following move forward through 2 straight days of heavy rain and thunderstorms.
Ooh,
The DC
sloppy.
for a skill check will be 15. So 25 will be a crit success, and 5 will be a crit failure. If you like, you can forego your skill check to try to help someone else using the standard aid rules, or you can use a spell or some other ability. If you think it's appropriate, maybe I'll give you some kind of bonus. You'll need to narrate how you help, and I encourage all of you to narrate the obstacle that you're confronting. As far as points, a crit success is worth 2 points, a success is worth 1, a failure is worth 0, and a crit failure causes you to lose a point. If you can get 5 points or more, you'll get a free travel or reconnoiter action. So a free exploration action.
Nice.
If you can get 3 points, you simply move at your normal pace. And if you get fewer than 3 points, you lose a day. All right?
Okay.
Now, the rain continues unabated for 2 days, so consider that in your narrative. Now, who wants to go first?
I do have an idea.
Okay, go for it.
So at one point during one of these days, the thunderstorm has rolled in, and the clouds are quite low, and the rain is really heavy. And we come to a point where there is like a ravine or a gulch, like this creek that's just flooded with rainwater that is quite treacherous to cross, and the visibility is so low because of all of this intense rain.
Yeah, the sheets of driving rain just won't stop.
Yeah. So at this point, I think we decided to wait up and actually help the following across this because it's just so treacherous. And Andreas will use some of his magic in order to amplify his voice. He's got the spell Bullhorn. He uses that to be heard over the storm and issue directions and make sure that people aren't, getting trampled and that people are getting their way across. And communication is being maintained despite the sort of the crush of animals and people and the roll of thunder over everyone.
Okay.
So my plan here was to roll Arcana because he's going to be quite tired casting spells all day.
All right.
Oh no!
Oh.
I'm gonna hero point that because Andreas is super cool. that was a 9, and I rolled a 21.
All right,
so
that's
point.
a success.
Nice.
Great. So yes, you managed to, with your loud booming voice, you managed to guide the panicky animals across this treacherous torrent, and you get everyone to the other side safely, and you earn 1 point in our little activity here.
Awesome.
That narrative had some inspiration from 1883.
I've been watching
Maybe?
cowboy TV shows
A
lately.
little bit.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
As we are proceeding, it's obviously raining very hard, and it's hard to get a lay of the land. Xankath is going to, we're on the cusp of the woods, the forest. Xankath's going to climb a tree to try to get a better visual of where we're going.
Okay. You venture to the edge of the forest and you try to climb a tree. So what skill are you using for that? Acrobatics?
Yes, if I can get away with acrobatics, I will, but I'll do athletics if I have to.
Well, let's see. What is climb usually? Is it athletics?
Jump up the branches.
Climb is usually athletics.
That's
All right.
what I thought. Athletics isn't bad. Acrobatics is just better.
All right.
I'm also going to hero point that because that was an 11. And let's try that again. Better. It's a 19.
That's a success.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
All right. So you manage to climb up this tall tree and you look ahead and what do you see?
I can see where an area has flooded, and it's going to make it more difficult for the mammoths and everything, the larger animals, to move through. So I guide the following around that so we avoid that flooded area.
Excellent. All right. You now have 2 points. Jonesy.
Jonesy can go. So Jonesy hates to get his feet wet. He doesn't have to get his shoes wet. He's going to do everything he can to avoid that from happening. So he's going to be looking for higher ground, better pathways to kind of tread, see where there isn't as much water in the grasses and lead the folks through that way so they don't have to get so bogged down. And I would like to use the survival for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's another success.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
It is a success.
I will not hero point it.
All right. Unless you wanted to go for a critical success.
No, he's pretty happy. He kept everybody's feet somewhat dry.
Okay. All right. Got to have your priorities straight. So you're totally soaked except for your feet, which are somehow dry.
Just not as soaked.
Oh, okay.
There's no water in the chutes.
Korgo. What is Korgo going to do?
Let's, we'll have Korgo tie a rope around maybe the matriarch mammoth's tusk, and he's going to kind of pull her in the, whatever the right direction is that everyone else is telling everyone to do.
Okay, so what skill is that?
And that's athletics, because he's...
Well, you have to pick a skill that someone
Strong.
else hasn't chosen. You got to pick a different
no.
skill
Sorry
each.
about that, Korgo.
That could be nature if you're doing animal handling.
Korgo's going to nature it up, and it's going to be less rough and more gently guiding giant elephants. With a 20.
Yay!
Yeah.
All right, a non-natural 20. That is another success. And I assume you're happy with that and you don't want to hero point that.
Yeah, I won't hear.
All right.
That.
So you guys earned a total of 4 points. Korgo successfully leads this head mammoth, the matriarch mammoth, and keeps the rest of the mammoths on track. And you successfully make your way through these 2 days of driving rain without slowing down.
We're awesome.
We're so good at doing things.
Nice work, everybody.
Are we doers now?
We're thing doers.
We're thing doers? Nice.
What does Harbina do? Just freeload and draw on maps?
She works desperately to keep her maps dry.
Sure.
0 point.
All right. Very nice, everyone. Good job. So the thunderstorms continue almost nonstop for 2 days and then gradually lighten up. Now the rain slows, but it doesn't completely stop, and it leaves a sea of mud everywhere.
Are we in New Zealand? This is you're describing my vacation.
Everything and everyone is covered in mud except for your feet somehow. But there's no time to stop and clean. You're just a few days away from reaching the grandparents and hopefully Red Cat Cave. So now we have several days of movement to get through. So on the 22nd, you move. Editor's note, I have cut out several days of travel where nothing interesting happens and skipped to the end or almost the end of their trip across the open plains toward the mountains. You didn't miss anything.
Question.
Yes.
Is it still raining?
No, the rain has stopped. After a couple days of light continued rain, it has now completely stopped and things are starting to dry out.
Okay. Could we have a campfire moment?
Of course.
Where it's just the 4 of us?
Yeah, so this is the 29th, and yeah, you stopped that night at the campfire. Harbina has been hanging around with the following, getting to know people, and do you want anyone to join you at your campfire tonight? Is there any other characters from the following you'd like to have with you?
Brand?
Well, Fran has disappeared. You're not sure where he went.
Where's Brand?
He's the one slowing them down so
Fran's
much.
off doing amazing things. Nobody needs to be with us, just us.
All right, so yeah, it's another beautiful night. The weather is getting warmer. You can see that there are some more of those flowers opening across the plains. In the distance, the mountains are getting really close. You are very close to the hills that you're attempting to reach. Normally, the following would stop in that first set of hills between the mountains. You're getting very close, just a couple days away.
So it's later in the evening. Xankath's been kind of quiet tonight, sort of staring into the fire, contemplating, if you will. And at some point she looks up and she turns to Jonesy and Andreas and says, I don't believe I've ever asked either of you if you have family out there somewhere. For some reason, family has been on my mind recently. If you don't wish to talk about it, I understand completely.
I have a son out there somewhere. Last I heard, he joined up with the Black Arrows. It's been quite a while.
Andreas is my family now.
Well, yes, aside from you, Jonesy.
Yeah.
What about you, Xankath?
I had a lovely family back in Bravoy. Parents, a sister. And, you know, things happen. And just with everything that's happened recently, I've been thinking of my sister a lot.
What was her name?
Finlel. She was...
Could you spell that for my notes?
I suppose I could.
Was she attractive?
Fenlile.
Fenlil.
That is how I'm pronouncing it. Whether or not
Cool.
that is, that's what I'm going with.
And where is she now?
Oh, probably back in Bravoy. She was sweet for a while, and things turned as they often do. As things have gone with Picano recently, I've been thinking of her more and more often. Things turned bad in the end, and that was the last I saw of her.
What was it that came between you?
Oh, she betrayed me and murdered somebody, making me take the fall so that she could take over the family business.
That's much worse than
Wow,
I was
yes.
going to guess.
I was about to say sisters are for life, but I don't know anymore.
No, not sure they are. But, I've always questioned what made her do it, what could come between family like that, and now Picano has basically done the same thing, and I can't understand that inclination. I was just curious what was going on with you all.
That's a tough thing to assess, Xankath. People turn to the darkness for all sorts of reasons. When we were at the World Wound, sometimes it was something subtle. Sometimes it was something obvious. The demons themselves could torment and torture and transform a person. The most stalwart and honorable of paladins and champions would turn their coats after a demon had got their claws into them.
Honestly, I would be comforted if I thought Finwil had been turned by a demon, but I'm not sure I can give her that benefit.
I suppose it's wiser to say that demons come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and not all of them are from a different world.
Your sister, though, I mean, there is always hope for redemption. She might change her ways, no? I mean, after all, she is your sister, and look at you. What extraordinary things you've accomplished.
Well, yes, but I'm not sure I'd ever find out. I have no desire to go back to that. Perhaps one day. For the moment, I'm quite happy with this new family.
Me too.
Jonesy takes your hand and looks deeply into your eyes, the way a kind old man would, who has no intention of trying to woo you, just like a loving father.
It's not creepy, okay?
It's not creepy.
It's not creepy.
It's not creepy at all. It's very, very nice.
Xankath gives him a hand squeeze.
You're a good kid, Xankath. And Andreas, not everything is about the World Wound. Stop telling everybody about the demons and the terrible times.
Look, it just happens to be something I have a lot of experience in, all right? I have bonuses to rolls on it and everything. Xankath, you're going to be around for quite a while. Jonesy and I have been around for a long time. We've been all over the place. I haven't been to Bravoy, but there's plenty of other countries we visited, and I'm sure the realm of the Mammoth Lords is just one stop along your long adventure you're going to have.
Perhaps. It's nice at this stage of my life to be surrounded with good people.
And Korgo, too.
And Korgo as well.
Korgo snores loudly. And you continue talking until you fall asleep as the Aurora pulses overhead. And you're very close to reaching the end of this sprint, at least for the moment. Do you guys want to continue to the end of the sprint, or you want to stop there?
As we're continuing to the sprint, Xankath magically receives a hero point for her amazing.
Yeah, I think we're going to give Xankath a hero point for her backstory explanation, and also we're going to give Korgo a hero point for his unapproved flashback.
What are you talking about?
Wait, this whole flashback thing is taking on a whole different meaning. Unapproved?
Mike just stamps deny.
And these are hero points we can use next session.
Yeah, so you'll have to make a note that this is a hero point that we'll hold over for next session.
Okay.
I don't take notes.
All right, then I guess not.
I do.
That was the 29th. The next morning, the 30th, you move into the last hex of plains. And also the Burning Mammoths move. That's the 30th. The next day is the 1st of Desnus, and you need to reconnoiter, and I need someone to make a perception or survival check.
I can go ahead and do that. Got a 21.
Great. So with a 21, you check the hex out, you make sure that it's all safe, everything appears fine. You do notice just some traces of recent travel through the area. You think you maybe see some cart tracks, but you don't see anything else. The rain may have obliterated whatever other recent tracks there were around here. And also in the far distance, now that you're getting a little bit higher in altitude, you can see the fires of the Burning Mammoths far to the west. They're several days behind you now. That was the 1st of Desnus. On the 2nd of Desnus, you take your first travel activity into the hills between the grandparents. Now, this is difficult terrain, so it's going to take you 2 days to make that move. So the first day is the 2nd of Desnus. Your next day of travel activity is the 3rd of Desnus, and the Burning Mammoths move again. Now, the 4th of Desnus is your first day exploring the Hex. As you reach the valley between the mountains, you're nearing the end of your flight to the Tusk Mountains. A wide, windswept valley marks the beginning of the mountain range, and the point at which the Broken Tusks typically turn north for the summer. You can see that path northward, straight north, up through the mountains. That's the normal path that your following would take. The expanse is several miles wide, but rolling hills and mountains rising high to the northwest and southeast nonetheless give it a cramped feeling. The way the peaks loom over the plain gives an impression of enormous, stooped figures, hence their name, the Grandparents. The Broken Tusk following comes after you into the valley and stops to observe quiet rituals honoring departed ancestors. Even with the Burning Mammoths on your heels, some traditions must be observed. You are far enough ahead that they plan to spend 2 days in remembrance of Grandfather Ewa and preparing for the next leg of the migration. That's fine, since it will take you 2 days to scout the area anyway. You'll stop by Red Cat Cave afterward to fulfill Ewa's dying wish before the Broken Tusk following turns north. So, you're doing your first day of exploring this hex, and I need you again to make a perception or survival check.
Got it. It's an 18.
18, and that was perception.
Perception.
Okay. The days are getting warmer and more comfortable as you search the area, but you don't find anything here. There's nothing interesting. The Burning Mammoth following looks like it's still far behind, judging by your view from the hills. That's your first day exploring this hex. The ceremonies continue over at the following's camp. Now I need you to make another roll for the next day.
I got it. Go make a survival for 24.
24.
Oh, nice. Is that close to a critical success, Mike?
That is a success. It's not a critical success.
I'll roll just in case it does it. I help. This is
You
25.
help. Okay, 25. Okay, still not a critical success, but it is a success.
Okay.
You find some boot prints suggesting someone else has been in the area recently. They disappear after a short distance, and you suspect that whoever made them covered their trail. You're not able to find it again today, though. And now you have to make a choice. The following is ready to move on. Do you want to try to track down these boot prints in the area where someone's trying to cover their trail, or do you want the following to move on?
Do we have anything that indicates like the modernity or technology level of this booted person? Because like, do most of the people in the following wear just like calfskin boots as opposed to like riding boots?
Yeah, they wear simple leggings, wraps, that kind of thing. Make a society check.
Oh, I might be able to do that.
Somebody.
I have a +2.
I don't know anything about society.
That's a 19.
These are some fancy boots.
Oh.
These are not the sort of thing you would normally see someone wearing around here.
Can we get an idea of number? Is it like one person walking around? Is it 30 people walking around?
You see one pair of fancy boots. You know what? You guys are looking into this really thoroughly. Does anybody else want to try to make a survival check? You've already made a perception check. Wait, what was it? No, it was a survival check that Jonesy made. Someone else on the second day want to make a perception check to try to follow up on that survival check?
I'll do a perception. 24, which
Okay,
is the same thing.
That previous success is going to bump that up to a critical success. So while continuing to scout the area, you find some more of these tracks after you look around some more. And you would guess from the movement of these prints, you would guess that whoever this is also scouting the area. And they head up into the hills to the northwest. In fact, they make a beeline for the cliff. There were several attempts to cover their tracks, but now that you're onto this trail, you're able to find where the tracks start again.
So they headed up into the mountains. Is it possible that they're like setting up some kind of ambush? Because they'll have the high ground as the following moves through.
That is possible. Now, having said that, the following is going to be hundreds of feet from the mountains when they pass by, but depending on what they have up there, I guess it could be an ambush. That's possible.
I feel like it's our responsibility to ensure the following gets through this pass safely. I am interested in seeing who this interloper could be.
We have quite a lead at the moment, so it might be worth it to take that time while we can and check this out.
I agree. Korgo?
Korgo grunts.
Just checking if that was a grunt. I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, with Korgo's grunt, you all agree, and you're going to do what? Head up into the mountains to follow the trail?
Yes.
All right. The scouts set off up into the hills in search of who made these footprints and what they're up to. And we'll find out what they discover in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening to Broken Tusk Rising. You can help the podcast by giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, by following us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as @TheHouseOfBob, or by chatting with us on Discord, and most of all, by supporting us on Patreon. That's at patreon.com/TheHouseOfBob. This show is possible due to all our patrons who get special zines, one-shots, episode commentary, and other stuff for supporting the podcast. Thank you, patrons, for supporting the show. Art for this episode is by Shaun Makes. Audio production and music are by me, Mike Hammock. Thanks again for listening, and roll on. Everything's fine. It's all good. No problems at all.
That's why we did the 10 seconds of breathing, Mike. Did you
I'm
not
good.
do your breathing?
I think you might need to do more
I
breathing.
did. I was breathing really fast. Is that how you do it?
No.
That's the wrong way to breathe.
We mess with his hands.
We might need your camera to be on so we know what happens.
Mike needs a paper bag. Quick, text Lisa.
Oh, no, that is the wrong. Once again, I have screwed up. All right, here we go. All right, for real this time.
I'm sad that the earlier stuff won't be able to be in the outtakes, but at least
too.
this
I
case.
my microphone.
We should have a special feed like Mike troubleshoots.
It's a
Well, 1 hour
Patreon
live stream
feed.
every
I
week.
was on page 50 instead of page 52 of my planning document. All right, here we go. Okay, I'll try refreshing the.
We've
Let's
had
see
one
here.
problem, yes.
But what about second
What about
problems?
second problem?
I don't think he knows about second problems, Pippin.
So pleased to meet you. I've lost my place in the notes.
What a weird thing to say.
Okay,
I understand. I've been there.
Yeah. All right. You're not going to believe this. My screen just turned black.
Oh,
God.
no.
I believe
Hold
you.
on.
Do you have a loose cord?
Maybe you're not
troubleshoot.
charging.
What did I do to deserve this? Hang on.
Wait, Josh was singing something. Keep going, Josh.
It's my number one troubleshooting mic. It's like a 90s, early 90s rap.
Yeah, I was getting
That
the
did
vibe.
not sound early 90s rap to me.
That's
It was
the
the R&B.
beginning.
It
That's
was
the
the R&B
beginning.
opening.
Maybe you just
Okay.
need you need some backup music vocals. Josh.
I'm not doing it, sorry.
It's your cue.
Good effort, though.
From the rest of us.
I can feel Mike's frustration through the computer. Oh, yeah.
I only rap when the listeners make a extremely thorough lyrics sheet for me to read from.
That description, Janette, I'm going to go on a total tangent for a moment and tell you about the time my wife and I went to Disney World years ago. And we were sitting there on a bench. I don't remember why. And there was a guy, there's an ice cream vendor with those push carts next to us. And this kid walks up to the ice cream vendor and just stares at him. And the ice cream vendor says, "Can I help you?" And the kid says, the kid like nods, right? But doesn't say anything. The guy says, "Would you like some ice cream?" And the kid nods. And he's got like a wad, a wad of money in his hand. And the man says, "What kind of ice cream would you like?" And the kid says, "It's got chocolate. It's got ears. It's got Mickey Mouse." And he says, "Would you like a Mickey Mouse ice cream bar?" And the kid goes, He didn't act. I mean, he did a good job describing it. It's just, I don't know, something about it just something about the way you described it without actually saying what it was reminded me of that child at Disney World.
How many years ago was this? That might have been me.
This was 1996?
Oh, yeah, definitely me.
Okay.
Don't tell me how to wear my armor.
You've got it on backwards.
No, this is how you're supposed to wear it.
Look, I've been putting on armor since I was a boy. I'm pretty sure that part's supposed to go over the belly button.
No. I'm wearing it exactly like you are.
Well, I'm wearing a breastplate.
Yes, but this is also a breastplate.
No, yours is a studded leather armor.
I thought we were friends. You keep criticizing
we
me.
are, but it's like I'm wearing a shirt and you're wearing a dress. You put them on differently.
I'll ask Xankath to do it.
Fine.
Yes. Talk to you later.
Did somebody say something just got moved? What happened?
The
Yeah,
brand new was moved 1 hex to the southwest.
Oh,
Yeah.
Where were they before? There?
here.
Okay,
Yeah.
The storm's so bad, they're moving the wrong way.
They're
There you go.
sliding.
Yeah, finally.
The Broken Tusk following. Follow. Okay, I need a better word there. The Broken Tusk.
Tribe, people.
Okay, sure, I'll say it that way.
Just following
Persons.
in pursuit. Or
The broken. I need to know the word. A verb that means follows. That isn't this. It isn't follows.
Source.com.
That's ours.
I'll just say.
Pursue, chase,
meanders
displace.
along.
Well, no, the Broken Tusks aren't
come
chasing
after.
you. They're. Unless you did something wrong. Did you do something wrong?
The following
No
comes
comment.
after us.
Those people.
Comes after. We
Okay,
precede
sure.
the following.
Comes after. I think is good.
A hidden city among the mountains?
Fancy boots.
Fancy boot store?
Full of supplies and fancy boot stores.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
so Mike. Yep.
Surprise, you found the boots.
We got it.
Well, hello. My name is Sigbert, and I have all the boots.
All your listeners are going to be so upset that it's not him. I can just see the Patreon cancellations rolling in.
There's still time to change it.
I guess so. I have some time.
You're real Picano if you don't rate the show. Leave a review. Only Picanos don't rate the show. Come on.